Congrats, you guys own the Libs. We're entering the depression again. You got us. $5 trillion in value has been lost. The S&P 500 dropped 10% in 2 days. That's people's retirement funds. That's people's college savings for their kids. And Republican commentators are pivoting and acting like this is just business as usual. They see nothing wrong with this. Boom and bust cycle every 10 years. This did not need to happen. This is an artificially created crisis. Donald Trump's idiotic foreign trade restrictions are going to crush small local businesses. They will not be able to survive these tariffs. And massive corporations like Amazon and Walmart are going to swoop in and absorb their market share when they go under. And we knew this. The crazy radical left, along with Nobel Prize winning economists, have been screaming this from the rooftops that Trump's trade policies are going to harm the working class and transfer wealth up to the top richest 1% of society. Maybe it's time to wake up and realize that the billionaire con man is not on your side.
As this presidency continues and things progressively get worse, I think we're going to see more Republicans switch to Democrat or independent in a similar vein to what just happened in Oregon. Let me explain. With the recent death of Charlie Kirk, it has become apparent that groypers are trying to make a move for a higher status in the Republican Party because they believe that MAGA is just not extreme enough. And that is actively fracturing the Republican Party. There's a spectrum to everything, and I think when it comes to Republicans and MAGA Republicans, some fall in line closer to a groyper ideology, while others just wanted what Trump had initially promised them and has currently failed to deliver on, like free speech, free trade, limited government, and rule of law, among other things. But with this current infighting and attempt to seize the throne in what is currently a power vacuum in the right-wing media sphere, I say this lightly, but I believe it's rattling some less extreme Republicans. It's getting harder and harder for them to spin certain things as Democrats when you have groypers outwardly admitting, chanting, and marching to the tune of being the real far right, worse than MAGA, Yahtzee-styled people. It is forcing an all-or-nothing team mentality, and I expect some people are not going to want to participate in that.
Hi, good morning. I thought I should let you know that a YouGov poll polled women on their favorability of Dumpy, and he hit an all-time low across the board with women. He's at a disapproval rating of 61% with an approval rating of only 34%. That's across the board. All types of women, all colors, all political beliefs, all religious beliefs. 61% disapprove of him. Could it be that he lied about grocery prices? And the women of the house who do the shopping are realizing that no matter how many times he looks you in the face and says, grocery prices are going down, you look at that receipt and go, kiss my whole ass, motherfucker, because that ain't going down. That's going up and up and up, and it's still going up. Or could it be he continued to say he's a president for the women? Oh, and he wants to put babies in you.
You know what? We want to produce babies in this country, right? We want to.
That's funny, because it doesn't matter what he wants. Women clearly don't want to have children anymore. Birth rates are plummeting in this country. No one wants to raise a kid in a country that could be a nuclear wasteland in a decade. Narcissistic men of power and greed, bloviating over who's got the biggest button, literally hold the world's safety and our lives at their fingertips, and nobody trusts a single one of them. Or could it be that he promised free IVF? We laughed and said, he can't do that. And you were like, he's going to do it.
I'll be known as the fertilization president, and that's okay. That's not bad.
Read this with me, MAGA ladies. Despite promising to mandate free IVF during his 2024 campaign, he has since abandoned the plan, and his administration currently has no policy to require insurance companies to cover that treatment. Instead of mandating free care, they have focused on less comprehensive measures to try and lower the cost. That ain't free, bitch. That ain't free. And you can't mandate insurance companies to do shit. And you can't force the taxpayers to pay for it if you won't even let women get comprehensive reproductive health care. You've got women dying because they can't get health care in red states. You've got women losing the ability to have children because they make them wait so long. Methinks Thou red hats doth protest too much. It's time to see this administration for what it is. Fucking lies. Lies across the board. Lies about everything. Lies about jobs, lies about tariffs, lies about women. This was a revenge tour, a money grab, and a power grab at the expense of the American people and the world's safety.
The GOP has become an insurgent outlier in American politics. It's ideologically extreme, scornful of compromise, unmoved by conventional understanding of science, facts, and evidence, and dismissive of legitimacy of its political opposition. Donald, scam a lot. It's Anton here. That today I'm in the park. So Trump administration is in a crisis. After the recent Charlie Kirk's shooting incident, they are looking in the mirror. They are looking in the mirror. That is a crisis. That's why you are seeing some Republican members of Congress. They voted to release the Epstein files, despite Trump warning them that it would be bad if they vote to release the files. Some went ahead and voted. So currently, the Republican Party is disintegrating. They can't agree on anything.
Republicans' views about the direction of the country have soured dramatically since June, according to a new AP North poll of more than 1,000 Americans that was conducted shortly after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. In June, about 70% of Republicans said the U.S. was heading in the right direction. Now, in the latest poll, that number has plunged to about 50%. At the same time, more Republicans are saying the country is headed in the wrong direction. This change was particularly pronounced among younger Republicans and conservative women. It's hard to say exactly why this shift took place, but we followed up with some people who took the poll. And some of them mentioned concerns about growing political violence, but some of them also mentioned anxiety about the economy. It's worth noting that Trump's approval did not change anywhere near this dramatically. It only fell slightly from August. This is a striking drop on direction of the country, which is a question where we don't usually see a lot of movement. It's a noteworthy sign of unhappiness, and we'll be watching to see whether this trend continues.
It really sickens me how much individualism keeps us in a chokehold on the left, because I don't know how to explain to y'all that narrative control and optics do matter. The way that things are spun after demonstrations happens, it matters. I'm seeing a bunch of people mad that they went to protest and people were flying the American flag. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there is a narrative that is really prevalent on the right now. There's a couple surrounding these protests, but the big one is that these are foreign invaders. The other big one is that they're paid protesters. That's a projection. We know it's because they're paying people. But the big one, right, is that these are foreign invaders. I don't know if y'all know how the right manufactures consent from their constituent base, from people who identify and vote conservative. It is by constantly trying to convince them that there's an emergency, that other people are out to get them, that immigrants specifically, that foreigners are out to get them. Do you guys really not think it's important to counter the narrative that these are all foreigners, that these are all people who aren't from America trying to change the American way of life? I'm a white American, dude. I'm not from anywhere. I'm not from Palestine. I'm not from Mexico. I think it's more important for my white self to be showing that as an American, I am deeply sickened by the crimes against fucking human beings that my government is doing right now. I'm American and I think this is bullshit. I think that narrative control is way more important than your personal feelings about the flag. I hear you, and I agree with you. It's a symbol of whatever. I think we need to reclaim it in this moment. Because of the narrative on the right that all of these protests are from foreign entities, from people who are not American, not from this country, trying to infiltrate and change and take over the American way of life. It is very life or death on the right. That's how they talk about these things. I am a white American saying, fuck no. Nope, as an American, I am deeply sickened and troubled by what my government is doing to people. My government. It's not about left versus right. It's not about what I personally feel about the flag. This is about standing up to a government that is showing up to people's fucking elementary school graduation, showing up to fucking foster care. What are we doing? This is morality. I think not letting this be spun in such a way that paints us out to be, I don't know, domestic terrorists, foreign, anything that the right says. Not that I agree with this terminology. I'm telling you how they describe us. Why would you feed into that? Why do you not care the way that this message is spun? I gotta say, it feels like a lot of the things that we do and say online are counterproductive to the things that we claim we want to see. As a white American, that is my nationality. I am sickened by this government. Sickened by it. It's important that, to me, that everyone who's cheering this on understands that me as an American find this deplorable, find this disgusting, will push back against this in every way that I can. I'm not from somewhere else. This is my fucking country. And I don't say that to mean you get the fuck out. I mean, this is my fucking country. You will not treat people here like this. America's a goddamn melting pot. Everyone, immigration is what makes us fucking great. Y'all hate the flag more than you want to see a successful movement, is what it, alright? Like, what are we doing? I'm sorry. I do not understand y'all's issue with the flag right now. I think that the narrative control matters in this moment. I really do.
I'm gonna need you to bear with me. I need to crash out real quick. Stop trying to get evangelical Republicans and Christians to have any kind of empathy. They are not gonna fucking listen to you. They're going to laugh at your face behind closed doors. They don't care if 17 million people get kicked off of Medicaid. They're going to laugh while a dementia-ridden grandma gets dragged out of her home because she's black. That's what you don't understand. You cannot empathize with people who have nothing but hatred and racism in their fucking hearts. These people are cruel to the core. They don't have empathy for their own family. You're talking about the demographic of people that kick their kids out as soon as they turn 18. They either kick them out or they spoil them so bad they wear a fucking red hat in a lifted truck. They don't care. They don't see people as being the same as them. They're not human. They actively dehumanize people. Fucking constantly. That's all they do. That's their entire shtick. They don't care about the economy. They don't care about people's rights. They don't care about their own rights. They just want to see people miserable. And they lie to themselves constantly.
The far right is turning on Donald Trump as he is about to cross their major red line. Now, if you missed it, the federal government and Palantir Technologies are working together to create one central database of Americans' most sensitive information. They're going to collect data from the IRS, from Social Security, the Labor Department, immigration, and put it all together in one spot. And the purpose, they say, is so that they can analyze behavior patterns, flag any threats, and make decisions on public safety. That's the claim. But for the far right, they view this as an interference in our freedom. They think the reason for this is to come after the Second Amendment. They've always said this is something the Democrats would do, and now they see Republicans doing it. And Trump making this deal with Peter Thiel and Palantir Technologies is a huge red line cross for them. And this is just one of many groups that are turning on Republicans, that are turning on Trump, because they were so desperate to try to be the conservative party, but Trump came along and they're completely going against it now.
So I usually follow news, and I have a sharp memory. So in April, when we had these Wisconsin Supreme Court elections, the Republicans lost, right? And when they lost, they started rethinking what will happen in the midterms. Because in the midterms, what I see, if the Democrats organize them well, it will be a wipeout. It will be a wipeout. It will be a massacre in the midterms if Democrats really organize themselves. because after the recent Republican losses, because they have been having losses in Iowa, almost everywhere, almost in the recent elections countrywide, and in November 4th, where the elections will be having, it will be a wipeout for Democrats. So the Republicans are starting to rethink. Does Trump and other Republican members of Congress and Senate addressing the real issues which Americans sent them to the Hill to address? Are they really addressing those issues? Because Trump said that tariffs will bring manufacturing to United States. Is that the issue? After what we saw with the Hyundai, Subaru is moving out, Ford is moving to Canada, John Deere is moving to Mexico. Is it as Apple brought their production to United States? Because I saw them the other day, they were going to India after the recent tariffs fracas with China. So is the Republican Party really dealing with the issues that Americans sent them to the Hill to address? They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, they have the Supreme Court. What have they achieved?
One of the reasons I think the Trump supporters are so hostile and fight so fervently for Donald Trump is that they are going through an identity crisis and they suffer very much from cognitive dissonance. Up until Trump, the Republican Party was known supposedly as the party of morals. They really focused on a lot of social issues, abortion, things of that nature. And they believed, in the sanctity of marriage, and they promoted a lot of these biblical moral ideals. Well, along comes Trump, who wins the nomination and then ultimately the presidency. Well, now they had to find a way to justify voting for a man who didn't live his life in a biblical way, who is very much the opposite of what most Christians believe that Christians should be. And they don't see the hypocrisy in it because they are defending an ideal that deep down they know goes against everything that they believed up until that point. But it's definitely eating them up trying to reconcile all of their ideals with, and then having Trump as president, because he blatantly goes against everything they stand for. He makes a mockery out of their beliefs, but yet they will support him because of identity politics. And so when they are confronted with that hypocrisy, because they are so identified with the Republican Party, that they will justify it and make excuses and use a ton of the whataboutism. The inner conflict is great, and the longer they go, never questioning the things that come out of the Trump administration, the more indoctrinated they become, the easier it is to justify. That's why they always say, but what about Biden? What about Obama? And when it comes to like Nancy Pelosi, oh, she made millions. You remember when the Republicans used to rant and rave about politicians making millions of dollars while they're in office, but yet Donald Trump has made over $5 billion since he's been elected? It's not that they don't care. It's that they are struggling with their cognitive dissonance. They know it's hypocrisy. They just don't know what to do with it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, follow for more. This is Grim with Get the Rant, and I'll see you all in the next video.
It's Joe from Georgia. So, how come is it that the Democrats always have to fix the economy and Republicans immediately, when they get in there, by the time their term's up, they've trashed the economy? This has happened, folks. You look at it. George H.W. Bush. Bill Clinton fixed it. George W. Bush. Obama had to come in 2009 and told the fields forever to get our economy back to normal, and it boomed. 2016, Donald Trump is handed a great economy, crashes it before he leaves office because he didn't handle a worldwide pandemic very well. Joe Biden, who came in, worked his rear end off. The Democrats in those first 2 years saved America with the SAVE Act, the CHIPS Act, and so many other things that brought our economy back to where it was. Then Donald Trump gets elected. And what have we done in this short period of time? Well, unemployment's up. Inflation is rising rapidly. The number of home sales in the United States is dropping tremendously. The interest rates for homes have went up. The price of oil is falling, which isn't good for America, believe it or not, folks. You're not going to see cheap gas
and cheap oil products go together because those companies have to make a living. But every time the Democrats have to come in and fix a mess, and we're going to have to do it again. Let's just hope it doesn't take us 4 years to get there.
If your anxiety attacks and your panic attacks are making you believe that Trump is winning, he's not. I'm here to tell you he's not. His administration is failing, epically failing. Over 95% of what they have tried to do has been shut down. And that was the plan of the shock and awe, to do it so fast and so furiously that it overwhelmed our nervous systems. It put in too much information, put a lot of shocking images out there, like the ICE agents in masks grabbing people off streets, while they're doing much less deportation than Biden did and didn't have to do it in a scary way. All of that is just to try and scare us and make us look like they're these strong men in control, right? They go pick up the students that are protesting on behalf of Palestine. We're going to get you. We're going to deport you. Well, guess what? More of those groups are coming together. More of them are going to protest. Why? Because we're fucking America. And we're not going to shut up. We're not going to back down. He's making us think we are because we're scared and because we haven't gone out like other countries and, just rushed the capitals. We aren't really able to do that the way that they are. We have so many more people. We have such bigger land. And when they said, well, just use your pew-pews, it's like, well, if everyone has a pew-pew, it's like no one has a pew-pew. Like, it has to be us against the government to actually do that. Going horizontally with those, that doesn't work. It has to be us versus them altogether. So, and the person that really points this out, how much they're failing, is Elon Musk. Even now he's saying, I don't really want to put money into politics anymore. I spent enough. And here was this guy thinking he was going to rule the day, saying, if you don't do what Trump says, I'll primary you with my money. Here, look, I'm going to give you a prize if you go vote for this judge. I'll give you $1 million. The guy lost. The governments that he put his money in to get the far right people to win, they all lost because the rest of the world sees who they are. They don't want to do that. The Tesla trucks, they're like down 35% in value. They're having to take all the trade-ins. They have 10,000 unsold ones, and one country just returned all of them. It was like Denmark or somewhere. They just said, take them back. No one wants them. There's watchdog efforts to get all the records of Doge because they know that was a bunch of BS. And they're all over that. They know that Doge was the fraud, and that's what they want to look at now. And then you've got Trump, Mr. Tariff. I did 200 tariff deals last week, and they all came to me. And then the other day, it's like, hey, 150 countries haven't done tariffs, and okay, I'm only going to give you a couple more weeks. That sounds very, very bold, very in charge. You guys better hurry up, or you're going to get a strongly worded letter. Does that sound like someone that's winning? No. We have consumer sentiment is plunging. And why is it plunging? Because this time the rich people are like, yeah, we agree with the poor people. This doesn't look good. This looks sketchy as fuck. Your tariffs and all your erratic decisions, scary, scary. Does that look like winning? It's not winning. It's just that he was able to overload everybody's systems. He doesn't come back out and say, okay, so almost everything I did got thrown out or is on the verge of being thrown out. So, again, that's why he throws out the ICE videos with guys with the masks on. That's for his viewers to make it look like, oh, look, we're really in charge. And then it's there to scare or intimidate us or the people that he's going after. But it ends up as a lose, lose, lose. And honestly, it just pisses us off. And people on the right, it helps wake them up because it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you could just deport them. But now you want to have a Hunger Games version of deporting people for Kristi Noem, the woman who doesn't know what habeas corpus is. She just got asked that. And she said something like, oh, it's the constitutional right of the president to be able to deport people at will. Something like that. That's not what it is. That's what I'm saying. They're incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. The only thing Trump is good at is being a con man. And in my opinion, he is the world's best con man. And that's because he lies so brazenly, so boldly, with confidence. And he also had years and years and years of Hollywood holding him up, creating him into this fictional character that he wasn't. He was already having bankruptcies before he even did that. And then Mark Burnett just put a polished turd up there, a gold polished turd, and said, hey, you want to come on his show and be like him? And that was 14 years of that being put into people's head, that he's a successful businessman, hopping in and out of his helicopter, all these beautiful women, you know, whatever. So they are indoctrinated fully, and they don't get the full truth of all the way he's failing. But he is failing. Does all this feel and look good? No. But we are fighting back. The pushback is working. And the boiling of the frogs has slowed down, if you've noticed. He's going to come out with things here and there to try and scare people. And as he gets cornered and found out, is he going to get erratic? Yes. Will he get paranoid? Yes. But the longer this goes, the less prepared they will be, and the more prepared we will be, and the less afraid we will be, because we now, too, can see what a con he is. How he really can't back up what he's saying. Why? Because there's 300 and whatever million of us that aren't going to put up with it. Okay? So, breathe. He's failing. The whole world knows he's failing. And if you look at all the things that have been thrown out, all the way that different people with money are going, you're not a good bet. You aren't coming out as tough and as strong as you thought you were going to. And you're doing things that make you look sketchy, like taking that plane, which now they know he asked for it. And Schumer knows that. So breathe. It's going to be okay. This is just going to take time and persistence and continually taking the next steps forward to say, yeah, we're not backing down. You can't get us all. And he eventually will break. So just hang in there, because they're failing.
Trump said that he will end the war in Ukraine on day one. Has he done so? Has he done so? He's saying that he will get a fair trade deal with China. Has he gotten one? He said that Mexico will pay for the wall. Are they paying? You're seeing farmers across the red states. They are really complaining that last year alone, China bought soybeans and other farmer products from them worth $3.6 billion. But at the moment, China has bought zero. Nothing. They have bought nothing. Because due to tariffs which China imposed on US goods, US soybeans have been very expensive, forcing the Chinese to go to Brazil and Argentina markets. It's an advantage for them. They are undercutting us in every metric. So Trump has caused more harm to the Republicans than good. And when you follow closely, in, I guess, I'm not sure of, 2022, when Republicans lost so much in the House and Senate, they even thought about deposing Donald Trump. But Trump really has hijacked the Republican Party. He has hijacked it. The Republican Party of today is not the Republican Party of Mitt Romney, John McCain. It's not that Republican Party. Trump has shifted it not to any ideology, but to confusion. Because Trump has no ideology. Trump has no principles. Ask any MAGA Republicans anywhere, any MAGA Republicans, why do you support Donald Trump? No point. What Trump did was bring out the hatred, the ratio, the racism aspect of some Americans, bad Americans. That's what he did. He brought out the ratio and the hatred part. And he was really good at banking on that. That's why you saw after the recent Shelcock shooting incident, some Republicans, MAGA Republicans, were asking Trump to call for a civil war. Is that really good for this country, a civil war, because of just one bad incident? They are ready to ban the whole country. this country is much divided, and Trump really banked on that. That's why you saw even some people who are claiming to be independent in the past became extreme MAGA. People like J.D. Vance, they were proper Republicans, but they had to cope with MAGA ideologies. Yes, they had. People like Elon Musk, who was claiming to be an independent, he came out in the recent elections as a MAGA Republican. But ask him, why do you support Trump? Nothing, nothing. Trump has no ideology, Trump has no principles, and that's what's really dividing Republicans. Because they know that his days are numbered, and they are struggling to clutch at what is left of them.